What's up, small business heroes? Welcome back to another episode of Small Business PR, where we make PR and marketing super accessible for the everyday small business hero. Now, you've heard me talk so many times about how to approach a journalist, and we have had so many success stories of thousands of really tiny following product owners and service biz providers get featured in the world's top magazines, podcasts, stages, without pay to play and without knowing the journalist. And that is using my CPR method: credibility, point of view, and relevance. So if you haven't mastered that yet, go to gloriachoupr.com/1 to listen to my signature cold pitching framework. But today we're going to talk about the 3 elements of the energy, the frequency, and hacks you need to have to get that yes from a journalist. The 3 C's that you need to have with every pitch, with every interaction, whether it's with a supplier or a person on the other side who's judging whether or not you're going to get an award, or a journalist, are these 3. You want consideration, you want to give them a compliment, and you want to have confidence. So let's talk about the first one. The first C is consideration. Are you considering if that journalist is actually writing that beat? You want to do your diligence. You want to know if the journalist is covering health, if you do something health related. If you do food and wine, and if they make products that are not anything that's consumable, maybe that's not the right pitch, right? You want to be super considerate if you are pitching the right journalist. And how do you find that out? So in our PR program, obviously, we have a database that's updated and a global database of over 127 different niches of all the journalists. And I give you really granular and specific insight as to what they cover. But you can start finding journalists on a couple things. So you can sign up at sourceofsources.com, which is a new Haro. And every day they will ping you with all the journalist requests. So obviously respond to the one that fits you and consider whether or not you are the right person to speak for it. Now, a lot of times we tend to pigeonhole ourselves. If we do something in beauty, we think, well, all we can talk about is makeup and cosmetics. And that's not true. Maybe you can talk about something with parenting if you're also a mom. If you have something that's formulated with clean, ethical, non-toxic chemicals, maybe something about sustainability. So think about not just your immediate niche, but consider some of the other adjacent industries or topics that you can talk about as well. So that's what I mean by consideration. Another important part about consideration is considering the journalist's audience. So what are they looking for that season? Now, my CPR method teaches you how to pitch not with your benefits and features, with relevance, because that's what journalists want. They want a relevant pitch for that season. So if you make something like a sweater, you're probably not going to pitch it in the summertime. If you make skincare that's super heavy and luxurious, you're probably going to want to pitch it Q4 or Q1 when it's cold and not for summertime. So think about being considerate as to what people are looking for. What are the trends? What are the solutions that you can provide for that season, for that holiday, for that point in time? That's what I mean by consideration. It is probably the most important thing of all when you are pitching, considering what the journalist writes and how you can be a solution at that point in time for the audience. Now, I know you probably make more than one product. You might have so many things, but the point of getting a yes from a journalist is being very specific. Again, you're not a McDonald's and you're not for everyone all the time. So even if you make a ton of product, think about the 1 to 3 products or a bundle that's perfect for that season, whether it's Mother's Day gift guide or it's a Q4 or it's a summertime thing or it's for travel minis. Be considerate of that. Also, when I say consideration, I want you to be considerate of the journalist's time. What does that mean? It means that you are not sending blocks and blocks and blocks of paragraphs and all these attachments. That's going to trigger the spam filter. My CPR method tells you exactly the anatomy of the pitch so you can keep it short, succinct, and to the point. You want the subject line to be very considerate, which means the subject line should say exactly what it is. For example, samples available, 3 inclusive plus size swimwear for all body types under $100. You see how that reads like an article. That is a considerate subject line. And don't hide it. A lot of people are saying, well, I am a skincare expert and I have 3 tips for wintertime. Well, then you don't tell them what the tips are. So be considerate and don't bury it, right? That's what I mean by being considerate. Another way you can be considerate if you are pitching for a product roundup to get featured in a listicle or a shopping guide or a best of, is to consider putting in all of the nooks and crannies and all the things about your product. So the price point, where it's sold, do you offer samples? What about shipping? Is it made to order? All of those things, right? Is it available on your website? And also, if you do have an affiliate link like AWin or ShareSale or on Amazon, put that in there as well. Be considerate. That's really what I mean. And that's really how we're able to get a yes from that journalist who doesn't know us, is by being considerate of all of these things. And I teach that in my program so that you can make a perfect pitch and get a yes, so that you can get featured over and over again to get that beautiful SEO that's going to build that trust with your audience. The second thing, which is the second C, which is compliment. Now, this is a hack I love to use because journalists are people, right? They're people. So stroke their ego, show them that not only have you read their writing, but that you actually love what they wrote. So if you make outdoor gear and you're pitching to someone for an outdoor magazine and that journalist writes about that, you might say something like, I love that roundup you did of the best outdoor bikes. I actually bought one for my daughter and she loved it. You see how beautiful that is? It's a beautiful way to start your email with a compliment that also shows that you have considered what they write about. Compliments go a long way, especially if it's genuine, not just a blanket compliment like, hey, I love your writing, right? Be specific. And it's very easy. You can just Google or use perplexity.ai, which is my new favorite AI enabled Google. I think it's better than Google search now. And you can type in who are the people who usually write about these topics. And then you can start to go down the rabbit hole. If they give you a journalist and you can ask it, okay, what are the latest articles? And then you can reference that article when you give a compliment. I love that, whether it's for email, whether it's for DM. It's a beautiful icebreaker that lets them to lean in and to show that you've done your research. Now, the third C in the way that you can reach a journalist, 3 hacks, if you will. The third one is confidence, not desperation. Now, I teach you how to be confident in my program to empower you and give you access to the top 1% of journalists. But confidence can also be something that is the way that you speak. So if you are pitching in the DMs or in email, what you don't want to do is beg or be pushy or just keep pestering them. What you want to do is be confident that you are providing a solution for their audience, right? I don't care if you make fidget spinners or if you make a mouse pad, you probably started this business to solve a problem. So lean into that confidence. Instead of saying, please feature us, we cannot have the budget to afford an ad, or, we just want to make sales, or please help us fill our Kickstarter goal. The journalist doesn't care about that. Be confident and say, hey, I know that your readers are looking for lingerie that it's plus size and they can't find it online. And that's why I have a solution for them. Or I make inclusive beauty and for all melanin skin tones. We have people in our program who actually makes all these products. And we have someone who makes nipple and breast covering tape and shapewear for all different colors. You see how confident that is, right? You're basically solving a problem. Or you can say, as we get into graduation season, XYZ is trending. Or you can say, as we get into the bridal season, I'm noticing this shift. So be confident. You are an authority because you created something and you know about your customers. Tap into that. You have vessels of information. You can pull them. You can share insights in a way that the journalist will never be able to do. So use that to your advantage. Talk about what your customers are seeing. Talk about their pain points. Talk about what's best selling right now, what ingredients are happening, what are the trends. And that's what I mean by the third C, which is confidence. So there you have it. The 3 C's of getting a yes from the journalist. I want you to lean into all 3. And please check out my free PR masterclass, which shows you exactly how to write a pitch. And that's from thousands of times where I cold pitched, hacking the system. And now you can do the same. I've had people watch this training and get featured right away. So go to gloriachoupr.com/masterclass. That's gloriachoupr.com/masterclass to get featured right away. And again, this is purely organic, powerful earned media that gives you SEO. This is not pay to play. This is not you giving an influencer thousands of dollars in free product. This is you positioning yourself with such a good pitch that the journalist has to say, yes, I'm willing to include you. That's it for today. Watch my PR masterclass. And if you know of another small biz owner who you know deserves to be seen, heard, and valued, please send them this podcast episode. And I would so appreciate it if you can leave a rating and review. Thank you so much for being here.